Hello and welcome to the solutions video for IXL grade 12 section B skill 1. The link doesn't seem to be loading here. Let me reload. It should be attached. And it was. It just took some time to load. So we click the link and we need to make sure that we are logged in. The nice thing about IXL is that it forces you to log in. Our other websites don't necessarily do that. If you are not logged in, I cannot see your results. So now I've entered the credentials, username, password, asked it to remember me. We will now log in. So we are looking at translations of functions. So a translation is where we've taken a function and moved it. In this case, we are looking for a translation of f of x equals x squared. Now that graph naturally comes down through the origin. If we substitute x equals 0, we get y equals 0. This has come down 6 units. So in this case, it has shifted 0 units horizontally, so our h is 0, and 6 units down, so k is -6. So if the caret doesn't seem to work, we'll do x squared minus 6. Now this graph shows g of x was a translation of f of x squared. This time it's moved 2 units right. Now remember, k does not act directly on the y value. So that's why we took that -6 as a -6. Here, h is acting directly on the x. So the behavior we used to have at 0 now happens when x equals 2. So when x equals 2, 2 minus h has to be 0. So h is 2. We have x minus 2 squared as our translated function. Here we have another translation. This time it's 9 units down. It's purely vertical, and because that -9 is not acting directly on the y value, which is our g of x, it's on the right-hand side, we just subtract 9. Now we're having a translation of the absolute value of x. Again, that naturally goes to the origin. This time it has gone up 8 units. So this has to be in the form absolute value of x plus 8. Now it's a little bit different. The vertex is at 8, 9. So it's been moved 8 units right and 9 units up. So we have x minus 8, because that vertex happens when x equals 8. So this whole bracket has to equal 0 when x equals 8. And it's gone up 9. This one has gone left 6 and up 9. So we need that to be 0 when x equals a -6. So we have an x plus 6 in our absolute value, and we add the 9. Here it's gone 9 left and 4 up. So do the sign change for the horizontal, but not the vertical. Now it has gone down 6 and right 3. Again, we do a sign change on the horizontal, but not the vertical. Now we want to go 3 units left. We don't have a graph to guide us this time, but they're telling us 3 left. So what happens at 0 now happens at -3, so we need an x plus 3 there. And we square it. Now 1 unit right is x minus 1. And if we're going 6 units right, then that is x minus 6. Here, 10 units up. So we'll have our absolute value of x, and then just add 10 to it. Now we have just f of x equals x, where we're going 1 unit left, which would be x plus 1, and 5 up. But we want to simplify this. So this whole thing becomes x plus 6. Now we want to take x squared, move it 7 left, and then we want to move it 3 down. Now here, the absolute value of x has to go 6 units right and 5 down. Now in the case where f of x was just x, we could combine that plus 1 and plus 5 to make a plus 6. Here we cannot do that because the negative 6 is inside the absolute value, the minus 5 is outside. So depending on whether the contents of these absolute values are positive or negative, we may or may not be able to combine them. It would be the same as a plus 6 in one case and a minus 6 in the other. Now we want to go 1 unit left and 4 units down. So that's 1 left and 4 down. Again, we cannot combine constants that are both in and out of the absolute value. So now they're getting a little more complicated. We want to move this 1 unit up. So we take the whole thing and add 1. So it'll be identical, except our minus 5 becomes a minus 4. Now here we want to move this 13 units left. So our x is replaced with x plus 13. And the plus 13 minus 7 simplify to a plus 6. Now 10 units right, our x is replaced with x minus 10. And x minus 10 plus 4 is the same as x minus 6. All right, our last few questions. So if we're going to go 3 units left, that's replacing x with x plus 3. So that actually wipes out the bracket. And then 1 unit up, we add 1 to the 9 to make 10. Now 4 units right, that means x is replaced with x minus 4. So they'll combine to make a minus 8. So we're in one of these top 2 options. 3 units down, we take our 6 and subtract 3. Now if we go 1 unit left and 6 units down of this. So 1 unit left replaces x with an x plus 1. So we got one of these right-hand options. 6 units down, we subtract 6 from the entire expression and get minus 3. And here if we're going 1 unit up, the first part remains unchanged. And then we add 1 to the negative 1, which cancels. It's the same as 0. Now here we want to go 7 units left. So going 7 units left is the same as replacing x with x plus 7. And then we leave everything else exactly as is. But we have to simplify our plus 7 and minus 6 to get a plus 1. And I have a typo. Okay, almost made it there perfectly in one shot, and then a typo in the end. I changed that constant when I shouldn't have. All right, so this one, 8 units right and 6 units up. So 8 units right is the same as x minus 8, but we're subtracting 2. And then 6 units up, our 3 becomes a 9. Now, 6 units left, our x becomes x plus 6. We add the 2 to get x plus 8. And then 10 units down, we just subtract 10. Now we want to go 6 units right. So that's x minus 6, then the combines with the minus 1 to make a minus 7. And 8 units down, we subtract 8. So plus 5 minus 8 is a minus 3. And now we take our negative 6, x minus 3 squared, So here's our original. And all we're doing is moving it 13 left, which is replacing x with x plus 13. Subtract 3, it's the same as x plus 10. And there is that 100 smart score that we are shooting for.